I put off testing the Brewmaster set simply because early feedback provided by players convinced Blizzard to make some early changes to the 4 set, which was recently implemented onto the PTR servers. While the change was pretty minor, it was important regarding AoE damage. Along with that, in this video we're also going to be going over the 2 and 4 set bonuses, testing it as best we can, and then going over my general thoughts and opinions. Let's not waste any time and dive right in. The 2 set bonus is really straightforward. Blackout Kick damage increased by 20%. You have a 10% chance to not reset your elusive brawler stacks on a successful dodge. Up front, this set doesn't seem all that impactful. It's simply a 20% damage increase on a single target filler and a little extra dodge chance, though it's a little bit more involved than that. Glancing at the tree, there are a few talents that will synergize with this set. First, you have Shadowboxing Treads along with the 2 set that will now cause Blackout Kick to deal just a ton of damage alongside cleaving. But more importantly, Elusive Footwork in the 3rd tier of the tree grants additional stacks of Elusive Brawler upon critically striking with Blackout Kick. For those who don't know, or simply don't remember, Elusive Brawler is the Brewmaster's mastery, and whenever the Brewmaster dodges an attack or hits with Blackout Kick, you gain a stack of Elusive Brawler which increases your dodge chance by a certain percent until you successfully dodge. With all of this in mind, Brewmasters have never been so elusive. This set will further increase our dodge chance, aiding in the mitigation of physical attacks and specific tank busters. That then brings us to the 4 set bonus. Rising Sun Kick grants a stack of Elusive Brawler, and when you dodge, the damage and critical chance of your next Spinning Crane Kick or Rising Sun Kick is increased by 5%, stacking up to 5 times. Rising Sun Kick is a talent option, so if you want to fully utilize this tier set, you're going to need to talent into this ability if you don't already. Ever since 10.0.5, it's been almost a universal talent choice due to Spirit of the Ox being implemented, but I am aware that there are a few players out there that don't like Rising Sun Kick due to the button bloating. Anyways, whenever you dodge an attack, you're going to gain a stack of a new buff called Leverage, which will increase the damage and critical chance of Rising Sun Kick or Spinning Crane Kick by 5%, stacking. For those who struggle at math, that's a potential 25% damage increase and a critical chance increase on those abilities. Now, this tier set in single target kind of blows, specifically a single target raid environment. This set obviously only really works if and when you are actively tanking and dodging abilities. In situations where you might be off tanking, you won't be gaining any damage increase. But even if you are tanking, you're already trying to maximize your Rising Sun Kick cast simply for damage and healing sphere generation. While there is a possibility you might hit Rising Sun Kick with 5 stacks of leverage on every cast, it's extremely unlikely. In any scenario though where you're going to be tanking more than just a few enemies, this set really seems to shine, simply for the fact that you're going to, on average, have more stacks of leverage whenever you cast Rising Sun Kick or Spinning Crane Kick. So let's test this out. Going into testing, I'm going to do this slightly differently than my other videos. First, let's look and talk through just my predicted build and some talent changes. I think this set will push the meta back towards Charred Passions. Over the season, we've seen many builds, but the meta fell upon Dragonfire Brew being a favorite, with another interesting choice being Pretense of Instability. The tier set essentially will provide this level of increased dodge, so we might be able to actually shift back to a more DPS-centric talent. I want to be extremely clear here though, this isn't necessarily going to be what might be meta, but this is what I'm going to be testing in this video. We're going to test the potential of Charred Passions paired with Counter-Strike and Freehold. In order to do that, we need to drop a few talents. Like I said, we can drop Pretense of Instability. The other choice depends on what you've been playing. I've personally been playing a lot with Blackout Combo, but I'm aware that many players play with 2 stacks of High Tolerance. I think dropping 1 stack here would be the play since Bone Whisperer and Weapons of Order are just too valuable. Regarding the test, it's not going to be clear how this set will actually impact our survivability and damage compared to other tanks. I think how we're going to have to do this is look at leverage uptime, dodge percentiles, and possibly cross-reference it with a test done without the 4 set equip. I'm going to skip over the hours I spent testing this. As most of you Brewmaster players know, they probably require the most attention from a healer. It's not that they are helpless, but they definitely have limited self-healing and require a little bit more time to generate healing spheres and recover Celestial Brew. I spent a lot of time playing with different trinkets, talents, and even swapping back to the tier bonus from Season 1 to try to compare the two. Long story short, the main thing that I was looking at ended up being dodge percentages between having the tier set on and not. I wanted to know if the set truly impacted or increased our dodge chance, mainly in a Mythic Plus multi-target scenario. With the new tier set on and running a Charred Passions and Facepalm build, we were actually dodging on average 2 attacks per second. This was typically occurring anywhere between a 60 and 90 second encounter of 9 targets. This is putting us anywhere between 87% and 92% dodge chance on melee hits. This number ended up varying slightly based on RNG. I then decided to opt into Pretense of Instability on top of the tier set, and I found that despite having a 60% uptime on a 15% dodge increase, the average was roughly 89 to 92. With this being shown, we just simply didn't really gain any increase there. I ended up testing this several times across 10 attempts. Now that we have the numbers for our new set bonus, I wanted to go back and see what our old set bonus provided. It was interesting, but with our old tier set equipped, we actually had it on average between an 84 and 87% dodge chance. While falling slightly short of the new tier, I want to point out that first, we were scaled to 410 item level while in the keys during PTR testing. Second, the Season 1 tier provides a 4% damage increase across the board and a 4% damage reduction. Third, the Brewmaster set actually clears up to 25% additional stagger based on the Brewmaster's rhythm stacks. So while we are gaining more dodge with the new tier set, enough to even replace a talent, we are saying goodbye to the Season 1 bonus, which will definitely reduce the healing from Guy Plin's Imperial Brew. That's just something to keep in mind. While testing, I was also running a really aggressive damage build, and that can be seen here, with Spinning Crane Kick and Charred Passions holding a strong position on our damage breakdown. I really wanted to get this video out and give my thoughts on the set. There's still a ton of testing that I need to complete. I had a few things that I wanted to test, including Blackout Combo, Training of Nazao, and more interesting takes like Tranquil Spirit. As soon as I test those, I'm going to be sure to make a video if I find anything interesting. To the naked eye, it's hard to tell how the set is actually helping the Brewmaster defensively. Without looking at logs or scrubbing through details, there's almost no notable changes since it interacts mostly with Elusive Brawler. In theory, this should be able to replace Pretense of Instability, allowing for additional talent point spending somewhere else in your tree, but your options are going to be pretty limited. Also, with such a massive increase to Spinning Crane Kick and Blackout Kick damage from the tier set, it almost feels like you need to play Facepalm into Counter-Strike, accompanied with Charred Passions. Again, this isn't necessarily the play, but there is a larger incentive to play this than stick to the usual builds. In essence, this tier set is really bland. You still do an insane amount of damage and nothing drastic is going to change about your build. I'm a huge fan of big tank damage and the set definitely checks that box. I just wish it had a better interaction defensively. Anyways, those are my thoughts on the tier set. Let me know what you guys think down below. I do plan on testing this on PTR now that keys and new affixes are available, and I'm going to be giving my thoughts on those soon. But it is looking grim. Massive shout out to my Patreon supporters, because without them, there would be much less of, well, whatever this was. I'll see y'all soon. Peace.